Okay, the recording is started now. Um, Again, I have the privilege today of introducing our speaker. It's Denise Meyer. Denise is a computer teacher at Hales Corners Lutheran School. She's been a teacher for about 10 years, and something that interesting here is we are also students together in the EdTech Masters program. So I have a little bit of inside information. I know that she has participated in at least one triathlon. So a little bit of interesting information. And Denise, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you at this point. Okay, Denise, are you having difficulty there?
Oh, here we go. We're good? Am I on? Can you hear me now? Hello? Yikes. Are we okay?
Yes, we're sounding fine now.
Okay, great. Welcome to Teaching the Smart Way. As Mark was so kind to introduce me, I am Denise Meyer. I teach pre-K through 8th grade. This is the first time I've done a presentation using this particular format, and I have to apologize ahead of time. I've done a couple of test runs and thought I sounded a lot like Forrest Gump, so thought maybe I could get a voice double, but unfortunately Sandra Bullock wasn't available, so here you go. It seems a little bit like The Wizard of Oz. We're running everything behind the screen, which is really good because then you can't see my fuzzy pink slippers. Woohoo! Please take a moment to introduce yourselves so I can get a better feel for which way I can direct this time. And I thank you for coming and spending this time with me. What role do you play? What is your interest in a whiteboard? You have one, you don't have one, your school is planning to buy one. The uses for the ones that you have. Also, maybe you are also currently in your pink fuzzy slippers. Okay, great. We have a variety of backgrounds here. Have smart boards. Have the Wiimote. Okay, great. Great. Thanks for that information. Spectacular. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to tell you a little bit about interactive whiteboards and the smart boards specifically, how they work, how you can use them in your classroom, and what features they have and some resources available to you. You'll notice at the bottom of some of the screens I have resources that will give you more information about the topics as I go along. I have some links. Here at Hales Corners, we installed the smart board 2 years ago and now have a total of 6 boards and are currently working towards having a board for each classroom. We have 2 classes per grade level, and no matter what type of whiteboard you choose, the most important consideration is training. A board will sit gathering dust because teachers have not been trained to use it. Technical support is also an important consideration, whether it's on site, which is fantastic but probably not very realistic, or at least a company that is close by that you could have a relationship with. The goals of this presentation are I'd like to discuss the different types of interactive whiteboards. They're similar to non-electronic whiteboards except that they can display text. There's computer screens with internet content, also computer software. You can show anything with word processing, presentation, or spreadsheet programs. And they also allow you to present a variety of information to a whole group of students. There's additional features of some boards that have a recording feature where you can record and post lessons for students to view at a later time, which is really great for absences or students who could use some additional review. There are many types of whiteboards. 2 of the most popular are the Smartboard and also the Promethean Active Board. For each one of these different types of boards, you have to have 3 components. You have to have the computer, a board, and a projector. As one of our, I have to look back to see who it was. One of our people here that's attending did use a Wiimote board. That's something that we've also tried, and it's something you can build on your own. Of the 3 different types of whiteboards, the first one is a dual membrane resistive board, and it can be operated with a pen or a finger, for example, the SmartBoard. This board is an analog technology, so there's a little bit of lag of communication between the pen, the computer, and the board. But I do find that the notebook software is much more intuitive than maybe some of the other boards. Polyvision Eno is another. It's got an interactive camera type technology. I'm not sure how that works out, if it's through a projector or through some type of camera. The next type are the active whiteboards, and that's the pen that transmits a signal. A solid-state impact-resistant whiteboard. So it's the board itself that doesn't necessarily, it's operated mostly through a pen, which is okay, except if you have problems with things disappearing in your classroom, you'd really have to lock down the electronic pens, because that's what makes the board work. 2 of the most popular brands are the RM Classboard and then the Promethean Active Board. RM Classboard is a product from the United States. It's not a touch screen, but the boards are very durable, and I think but I feel that the software is not quite as intuitive. It has a flip chart sort of layout. And then the third type are the infrared ultrasound units, such as Mimeo and Wiimote board. The Mimeo attaches onto an existing non-electronic whiteboard and transmits signals from pens, so it interacts very much the same as some of these other boards. I do have a little presentation about how to actually make your own Wiimote board. There's been a lot of chatter going on around back and forth on some different, the LEA network for one, and but I'm going to save that to the end, just based on some of the things that you've put on, just to give you some more time for some more tips, and then if we have some time, I'll come back to this at the end. But I'd like to talk a little bit more about the SmartBoard itself. There's some really important considerations when choosing a board. You have a lot of choices. You can have a portable or mounted board. We went with a mounted board simply because it has some more stability to it. Portable boards are great. You can take them from classroom to classroom, but one of the disadvantages is it has to be set up fairly exact every single time, and that makes it a little tougher for sharing the boards. But there again, the disadvantage is you can't have other teachers use it in other rooms. In order to have the board truly portable, you'd need the projector, a laptop, or a USB to run the board in whichever room you choose. Another thing is important consideration is the software. Try it out beforehand. You can download trial copies for most of them. If they're intuitive for the teachers and students, you know that they're going to be much more utilized. Also, the surface type, to touch or not to touch. If traditionally most elementary schools have gone with the SmartBoard product simply because of the interactivity that the students can actually manage some of the software on their own. They know intuitively how to run it and how to work it, and also teachers are able to put the information in a little quicker and don't have such difficult time just making the transition with their lessons. I've made my SmartBoard what I use, and I'll tell you that in a little while, but what I do is I use a pen to actually have the objects move around, so the students kind of help me keep the surface clean that way. SmartBoards are useful instructional tools that they can transform classrooms into rich media experiences, including multimedia, internet integration, and interactivity, where students can manipulate the objects for a more hands-on learning experience in the classroom. I think it's also changing the way we teach. They come with software, like I mentioned, called Notebook. And it's very similar to PowerPoint, which makes the learning curve, I believe, for the teachers and the students a little faster. And what I'd like to show you right now are actual uses of the Smartboard from the teachers in the classroom. The first one is Heather Schmidt, our third grade teacher, and she talks about her experience with her Smartboard.
I know the Smartboard might seem intimidating because it was when I took a class on it. And then I found out I was actually getting one in my classroom. Then the nerves really kicked in and I didn't know if I'd be able to use it and make it relevant to my students and their learning. But if you can use a laptop and a computer, you can use a Smartboard. My Smartboard influences our day right from the beginning of the day. Every day I do put a welcome, and so when the kids come in, they're engaged, they're reading it more than the dusty old white chalk on the chalkboard. I'm able to put fun things on there, smiley faces. So at the beginning of the day, it kicks it off right away. I find that the biggest bonus of the Smartboard is time management. I can just bring so much into the classroom quickly and have it up here where pre-Smartboard, I'd have to sign up for the computer lab, take all the kids in there, you know, there's transition time, there's logging in and all that stuff. Where here, we're talking about a subject, I can bring it up. For example, we are going to be doing the Olympics. And right away, I can put it in my favorites. There it is. And it links me to just all sorts of things. We've talked about, you know, the different sports. We're talking about continents. We're talking about which countries are participating. And all these things are on here. And kids are so used to this medium and computers. They even come up here sometimes and say, Mr. Schmidt, you know, there's an easier way to do this. And so it really
one teacher believes
gives them
that
ownership
this
of their learning.
just using this software has just really changed her classroom, and also she believes that it has changed her students, just some of the issues that they've dealt with, and so I'll let her tell you in her own words.
One of the biggest benefits I feel for my students on having a Smartboard is the fact that it projects such a clear picture, especially for my students that have vision issues, which in the past 2 years, I have had probably a third of my class either be diagnosed with vision problems and need glasses or undergoing vision therapy. And so this has really reduced eye strain for them. I don't need to worry about them always being in the front row because they can see 3 rows behind them. There's no glare, which surprises me, but there isn't for them. With sometimes I would write in the chalk and the white and the yellow, they just couldn't see very well. I really like these colors. You know, they're very bright and the kids can see in the back. I have never had a child say they can't see the board now.
And
So with the
finally,
Smartboard, I think
she also talks
for
about
those
how
students,
she
it's been a blessing.
imported some lessons,
Gotcha.
and that's one of the other thing too. When you have a Smartboard, you now have lessons that you've been teaching all along, and sometimes the thought of transferring them is really daunting. But I'll show you a couple of tips and tricks that I've learned to kind of speed up some of that process. Oh, she's going to love that shot. Playing.
So one of the challenges I've had moving from my traditional curriculum items like transparencies and worksheets to the Smartboard. So this is our reading curriculum, and it comes with maybe 15 worksheets for every unit in our anthologies. And so what I did is I scanned all, the transparencies come with a white paper copy. And so I scanned all those on my computer and I made a file. So now when we start out with the story, I can go through the vocabulary with them. We also have all our grammar lessons on here that I can do. If here we're talking about verbs, I can have the children come up and identify the verbs right on the Smartboard. This is really great for my children that have vision issues. It really projects it larger than my overhead would ever do with the transparencies. So this is another tool that I've transferred over from traditional.
Okay, one of the things that she showed is
transparency
how she
paper
underlined.
type lessons.
Another feature that you have is InkAware, and what you can do is save those notes and then use those, give those notes to students as a review, and I'll be showing you that in a little farther on when we start actually interacting with the notebook software. So now that if you've got a board, now your next question is maybe how would I use it? And here's some sample lessons from 1st, 3rd, and 5th grades. These are activities that the teachers or the students have made themselves to actually enhance their curriculums. One of the first ones I'll be showing is Margaret Hammer, our 1st grade teacher. And what she did was she made a lesson, and then the students used the interactive pen to actually go along and in a group work through this together. And here again, she can save these notes and print them out, or she can leave them up on the board for students that can have something visual to look at later on to remind themselves, okay, yeah, this is what this was, this is how it meant, this is what the teacher meant, and just as a little bit of a review.
Boys and girls, this is our morning message for today. I'd like you to take a minute and first read it with your eyes. And now let's read it together. Remember, good readers read like they talk, so let's pay close attention to our ending marks. Ready?
Dear class, Saturday I went to a farm. I walked through the barn door. I saw a big brown cow. Then I rode a horse. I had so much fun. Did you ever ride a horse?
All right. You know, I noticed that some of you right away, you remembered we put this word to sleep, so we whispered it. Now we're going to look for a few things. I want you to look at our morning message, boys and girls. First thing we're looking for are the ending marks. Let's see if we can find our ending marks. Maddie, come on up. The rest of you, show me with your hands. How many ending marks do you see? Oh, you guys can count those so quickly. Maddie, how many did you see? 5, and right away I saw people put up 5 fingers. Yes, most of them are periods, but that last sentence was an asking sentence. Now, I want you to look before you raise your hand. Boys and girls, there are 2 magic E words where the E says nothing, but it makes the other vowel say its name. Who can find a magic E word? Matt?
Road.
Say it again.
Road.
Road. Come on up, Matt, and circle it. Anybody see the other magic E word? Emily.
Horse.
Horse. It has an E at the end, but it really doesn't make that O say O. It says more or. There's another one. Carissa. It's the word ride. Come on up, Carissa. Ride. The E says nothing. It makes the other vowel say its name. All right. Now I need you to look carefully. I am looking for a word that has an ending on it. And this ending sounds like a t, but it isn't. What word am I looking for, Elias?
Walk.
Walked. What ending is that?
ED.
Come on up. Yes, that ED oftentimes sounds like T, but it isn't. Walked. All right. And then the last thing I am looking for, boys and girls, I am looking for a word that rhymes with fig. What word rhymes with fig? Tori.
Fig.
Come on up. Good job, boys and girls.
Okay, as you can see, this is some one of the most basic features of the Smart Notebook software. There's so much more you can do, and we'll be showing that in a little while. So what you can do is then take it to the next level by adding some interactivity to it. So in my next video, what I have is a 3rd grade teacher, and this is pulling the internet in and being able to display it to the whole class, but also then having the interactive features from the internet, whereas you would click on a computer, but with a smartboard, you can actually have the kids interact with whatever is on the web page.
Part of our 3rd grade curriculum is Mr. Popper's Penguins, so we combine literature and science, and we talk about penguins and Antarctica and where it's located on the Earth. And so our class found Google Earth, which we love, and Will is going to show you here how we're able to look at the Earth, and we can turn it. You ready? Show them where Antarctica is, Will? Okay, gotta turn clear. Find it.
There it is.
There you go. So we're able to show its relationship to South America, and it's actually on the bottom of it. Easily go back. I will be using this when we talk about rotation and revolution of the Earth around the Sun, and
And then
our
the
planets
third,
as well.
I think one of the third feature that I think is really incredible about this software is the interactivity. There are flash games that you can put with each unit, and this next video is a 4th, 5th combo class, and the students were doing a review, and they can actually make these games themselves. At the middle school, I have the software loaded on all the, oops, I'll wait.
Increases the price. So the answer is?
Right.
All right, very good. Businesses use rivers in the Midwest for this.
Okay, and
The
Marissa
answer
asked if
is
this was an online game. No, this is one of the
Good job.
features of the notebook software. There's flash games that are actually included in the software, and you edit them, and so you can put the information into each one of these games, and so then the students can kinesthetically can just start interacting with some of the information. In fact, Deb Farrar is on with us, and it was her class that actually did this. So Deb, if you'd like to chat in and talk a little bit about that, I can get set up for the next section. Along with this basketball, you can change it to tomato splat. The middle schoolers love that. So like if I have some computer key terms, what I can do is put those in. There's a clue, so they can, like say, for vocabulary word, I can put the definition of the word. I can put the word in, and then they have to start guessing the letters. And if they get it wrong, there's a tomato splat. They love that, or they score a basket, or the other choice is soccer. So I'll be showing you with the software in just a few minutes. Just some neat things that you can do. Okay, I think I will go to that right now. I'm going to share my computer screen. Hopefully this will work out. I had some trouble with this last time. Okay, Mark, I've lost the toolbar, or the sidebar. I'm not sure that matters a whole lot, but just if anybody asks a question, I can't see from this. I probably needed to click something before I went here, but
That's okay. I'll monitor it from this side.
thank you so much. He's going to monitor it for me. That's the wizard behind the screen there. It's kind of exciting to have one of those. Okay. So I'd like to show you just some of the features of notebook software and why I find it just so great. It's set up a lot like PowerPoint. So I think first off, a lot of teachers, if they're familiar with PowerPoint at all or Microsoft products, you're going to be very familiar with a lot of the tools. You have your common menu items up here that you're used to interacting with. Also, you have your navigation tools that are very similar to what you'd see in, say, a PowerPoint. You can insert a page. Then here you can open a file, save, paste, undo and redo. These are the two buttons I use quite often. Delete. And then here you have a screen share. So say, for example, you are presenting something, but you don't want the students looking at the information that you have on the bottom. You can move the screen, and the shading can go either way, a lot of different ways, so that you can focus their attention on what it is you'd like their attention to be on while you're presenting. I can go full screen, which of course is great, except it hides my toolbars. Exit full screen. The next thing you can do is called a dual or split screen, and I'll show you that with a lesson in just a minute. Also, I'll be talking a little bit about the screen capture. That's got some great functionality and some great things you can do. Document Reader comes with that. If you have documents that you have already put together, for example, texts, things like that, you can scan them in. I haven't used that feature at all. We haven't really invested in one of those. I can also insert a table on the fly. This is a pointer. It has a lot to, it's the same kind of a deal as your computer mouse. Pens. These are called ink in this notebook software, and the students can write if you have different, like say shapes or something that you're presenting. You can have the student come around and circle something, or you can have them make something, that kind of a thing. Also, there are some teachers have done some really fun creative stuff with these particular tools. So some novelty stuff also. You can draw your lines, and I want to just do one of those so I can just show you something. The ink are kind of unique to this particular screen, and what I mean by that is these other things like the shapes and what have you are actually objects. So when you go to erase them, I think this is a little confusing at the very beginning when you're first working with it, but when you go to erase things, it will only erase your ink. It will not erase the objects. So that's just a little tip and trick there. Then the next thing is the shape pen. This is really kind of nice when you are teaching math and you're teaching about shapes, and if you're challenged like I am, you can, it will recognize shapes, although I have done such a poor job, it actually couldn't recognize the shape. But then it will actually make a nice shape for you. So if you're in a hurry and want to grab shapes that way, you can do it that way. This is the Magic Pen. What's really cool about that is it's got a couple of really neat features. One is that if you tell a student to draw a line, say, under the square, they can draw a line under there. And what they really like about this is as you're talking, you can see what happens if I talk. There you go. It disappears. So that's kind of neat because it's just a temporary kind of an ink. Also, I can draw a circle around something as I'm presenting, and it will put a spotlight on whatever information I'd like to focus their attention on. And then finally, one of the last little tricks you have with this Magic Pen is if I draw a square around an object, it will magnify it and bring it to the front and really bring it to the student's attention. The next is fill. This goes to my toolbar here, and I can go to fill effects, and then I can also color in objects. Text tool, you can put in different texts. Obviously, it gives you a text box. Type it in. I use that to do the toolbars thing. Here again is the properties. A couple of things that are really kind of neat about that. The fill effects we just saw. I can change the the colors of the lines by selecting these. Next is the text style. I can change the text styles here in the pretty typical. I'm sure you've all worked with that. Here's another feature too, a page recording. Now there are two ways to record your pages in SmartBook. One of them is this page recording, and what it will do is it will record everything that you put on your screen, or anything you put on your page. So say, for example, you're doing a math problem and you come up and you have students solve the problem. You can record it, and then when the students are back at their desk and they're working on it and they want to see how that student did it again, you can hit the play and it will go through step by step how that math problem was solved. The only thing with this particular one is that it does not have audio. Okay, I can also move my toolbars around. I've just shifted it to the bottom of my board. If you have little people, that's a really nice handy feature that you're teaching to. And that's pretty much standard with any of these toolbars. I can move them back and forth. Next thing is the Welcome Center, and when you start up your board, this will come up. And the reason I point this out is you can find files that you've recently worked with, that kind of thing. But also, you can find some additional tools on here, and we've talked about some of them, and I'll go through a few more. But here's what I wanted to talk to you about, the Teachers Hub. This has tutorials from SMART that are, if you're getting started with a brand new board, or if you want to enhance your skills and you want to learn some new tips and tricks, there is just a wealth of information here on just how to get started, and it really helps you out. I just watched these videos for a couple of days and really felt very comfortable using it. And then of course they have their help center and their online support. And then finally is the Smart Recorder. And in the beginning of the presentation, what I had mentioned was that you can use the Smart Video Recorder to actually record your full lessons. So as you're talking, similar to like this session is being recorded, it does the same thing. I can it inputs audio, but it also then it inputs audio, but it also then plays everything that I have on my screen. And I can add toolbars. I can add tools from this little deal here, and I can add, or like I could move this document camera off since I don't use that, and I can just find tools. This is where I found the Smart Recorder and the Smart Video Player, and I can just drag them onto my toolbar like that, and then they're ones that I can access. The interesting thing about the Smart Video Player is that it plays AVIs but not MP3s, and MP3s are ones that I use quite a bit. Oh, I have questions, but they're popping up fast. I can't see them. I'm sorry. I guess that's one of the disadvantages of being in full screen. So these are pretty much your toolbars. You can do the auto hide so that when I click, then it, oh, I got it, no, it clicks that away. The next thing I'd like to show you is, okay, so that's a little bit about the toolbars, but now what about actually making lessons? So you're going to want to put content on your pages, and so I'll just do a quick lesson and show you some tips and tricks with that. So I go to, we'll let her answer them when she gets back out of the chat room. Thanks, I got to read that one. Okay, here is the sidebar, and I'll go through each one of these tools here, but I'll just do a brief how-to with getting some content for your lessons, for your units. Okay, so suppose I want to do a unit on Noah's Ark. All right, so I'm going to type in Ark. And even though this is not a religious affiliated, they do happen to have a picture of Noah's Ark. And so that's really nice, but that's not what I would like the kids to do. Yes, it does import PowerPoint, and I'll get to that. So that's really a cool thing too. So here I have my ark, but what I want the students to do is actually drag the animals into the ark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just delete this one. There's a couple ways you can do it. One is just right-click down or click down on the little down button there, and there you go. So I would like to actually then go and get my own ark, and I can go to Microsoft Clipart Online. And here's the ark that I want by the magic of internet. So I'm going to click on it. Click copy. Go back to my presentation. Right click, paste. There is an ark I can get some animals into. But here's what I like to do. No, everything is free. Everything that I'm showing you so far is free. Now, obviously, the clip art you can get to Microsoft. That's free also, but it comes with like I think 5,000 pictures, and I wish I was exaggerating, but it takes about a good hour to download in the gallery, and I'll show you the gallery in just a short bit. So here I have my ark. Now it's got the white borders around it, and I don't really like that. So I can go to set picture transparency, and I get these little pink things. But if I take the eyedropper and I click around here, I now can have an ark without any white funky stuff. Okay, so I have my ark now, and now I'd like to get the animals, and of course I did that ahead of time. So here I have my animals, but I'd like to get the animals over to the ark, and now here's where I can click on my split screen, and so now I can have the students put animals into the ark. So here I have the little monkey, and I'm going to drag him over. Oh, he's not going in the ark, he's going on the ark. Each one of these objects has properties. So what I can do is I can set the order, and I can bring it to the front. So this means that I can now drag the monkey into, actually it's probably a chimp, into the ark. Now my monkey is gone, and there were two, as you know from the story. So what can I do? Well, there's a little thing called the infinite cloner, and what I can do is click on an object, and I can click infinite cloner, and now what I can do, like I set for this hippo, is I can drag it over. I probably need to set its properties, and the original one stays behind. So you could see if you were doing a lesson, say on money or coins, how great that would be to be able to just clone it and still have the original. I wish it had the original properties. So that's kind of a really cool thing. And here there's just all kinds of different practices, so it'll step you through like actually creating a lesson through the Smart website. I really do know English, I promise. Okay. So there I have my animals. Oh, that was the other thing that I thought was kind of funny, is the way the smart people set it up. I didn't want that one. I wanted the split screen. To me, and I do this all the time, I would think that when I'm on the ark picture, that slide, that I would actually want the slide after it. But the way it works out is you have to be on, like I'd have to be on the animal slide in order to get the ark. to show up. So but they're from Canada, and I don't know. I guess maybe that's just the way they do things there. That was a joke. Okay, InkAware and screen capture. I love this feature. InkAware was something similar to what Mrs. Hammer was doing, the first grade teacher, when she had them actually drawing on or circling. You can save those in InkAware, and right now, because I'm not attached to my smartboard, it won't come up. But as the students write, like say I do a unit on social networking, I can circle the profile, and then I can save these notes, and later on I can do a lesson for the students that were absent and just talk about these features, and then they can have their attention drawn to those things. But then I can save it with this InkAware, and it's just, I'd click on the corner and save ink notes, and yes. The other thing is the screen capture, and that's how I got this particular page. Is say for example, when I'm doing my social networking, I obviously don't want to be on Facebook. I don't want to be, in fact, in our school it's blocked, which is a whole nother controversy depending on where you're at. But well, not so much Facebook, I don't think, but MySpace and those kinds of things. So what I do then is I go onto the internet and I use a screen capture, and with this tool I can capture anything on the internet. I can yeah. Some of the, I can capture a square, just so if I just wanted say, I wanted to impress them with how many friend requests I have right now, I can just capture this corner. I can capture just what's on my window. I can capture the entire screen, or here I can just randomly select little sections, and it cuts them out for me. I'm not very good at that, but so you can kind of see just how that works. So anytime you see something from the internet and you're worried about ads, or you're thinking, oh, I can't take the students there, with the screen capture you can show them what you want to show them without having to worry about actually being live on that particular site. Okay, this to me is the best part of the software. Like people have mentioned, I mean, yeah, you can pretty much do a lot of this stuff so far with a projector and just a regular whiteboard. But here's, I think, where it just pays for itself. On the sidebar, first of all, this is very similar to PowerPoint. And yes, as a matter of fact, you can import PowerPoints, and I can do that right now. You have all your slides. You can hide them, clicking the auto hide, or unclick them. But let me just show you just real quick how to import. But it will open up a new, it does open up a new, it won't add on to this particular presentation. So I would go to File, Import. I'm going to cancel that just because I don't want to do that yet. And then it just imports my slides and makes it a brand new notebook software presentation. And what's really nice about that is before I got a smartboard, I had roughly 40 PowerPoints that I had taught lessons from. And so I did not have to redo all my lessons. I would just simply import them and then add these interactive features, and it just took my lessons to a whole new level. Okay, so the next is the gallery. My content, as I find images that I necessarily, do the PowerPoints retain their interactive properties? Okay, not exactly. So if you have in your PowerPoint and you have a lot of transitions, or you have say object animation, that does not transfer over. That I'm pretty sure it does not, but you can then, you'd have to add that back in through, you would just click on here the Properties tab, and you go back to, because I don't have something selected, Properties tab, Object Animation, and then you could animate them similar to what you would do in PowerPoint. It doesn't have the same interactivity. You can have things flying in, flying out, which a lot of kids love that. Hyperlinks will stay on. Yes, they absolutely will stay on. They're a little different in Smart Notebook. Say, for example, right here is a hyperlink, but they do still have that link quality, so you're able to do that. Okay, my content. So I'm going through, I'm making a lesson. I find a lot of clip art that I need that isn't necessarily in the 50,000. I'm I'm exaggerating a little bit, but what's included in here, it is, like I said, an hour downloaded. That's kind of the pits. But so for my religion folder, I have clip art. I have kids do a lot of projects with that. Oh my goodness, I gotta watch the time. So what I do then is I will go back to, and I'm gonna uncheck the auto hide. So I'm gonna go back here, and I want to take this arc, and I want it to be available for future units. And so what I'll do is I'll open up my folder here, and I will just drag that over, and now it's saved. So I can. And can you see when you're doing information, and you know, those teachable moments and that kind of thing, I mean, you can have just a whole bunch of stuff set up for you. This is a whole unit right here. This is a whole presentation. I can just click on these links, and it's just on the fly. You can just do so much. So this is my content. I'm obviously a computer teacher, so I have a lot of computer stuff that I've saved and gathered over time, and it's the same thing. Just drag it in from your board and you're all set. Gallery essentials. For those of you who are language arts teachers, history teachers, math teachers, you will find tools to teach on a variety of subjects. Say, for example, English and language arts. You have alphabet, grammar, it's just incredible. 1,204 pictures. You've got the interactive and multimedia. This actually is sound for hearing impaired. Yeah, that would be great. For students that are visually impaired, as Heather talked about, you could make an alphabet book where it actually says the letter A. You can take, I'll show you the picture. You can take the letter A, have them, once they click on it, it says the letter A. You can pick a picture that goes along with it, that kind of thing. You can tell I have kind of an early childhood background too, I'm guessing. So you can see just tons and tons of things to, resources where you don't have to go out and find them. Handwriting practice. I'm not depending on what form you teach, but you could move the letter over. The students can grab a pen and they can actually do the lesson right there, or have some practice right there on the board, and they'll love writing on the boards, let me tell you. And then here you have some backgrounds that are similar to PowerPoint, where you can put a background on, and then the students can actually go ahead and it just makes it look a little professional, so you can have some really really great things without a lot of work. I want to get to, I went a lot faster when I was practicing, sorry. Lesson activity toolkit. This is where the stuff is. This is where you're going to find the games, the activities, those flash games that I was talking about. You have anagrams, so you put in a word and then the students have to unscramble it. Category sorts, image sorts. For geography, could you see doing the hot spots? And I'll show you, hopefully, I'll show you just an example of a lesson I did, and I used 7 different games just to put in some interactivity into it. And all you do is, let me see if I can get there. All you do is drag it over. How cool is that? All you do is you just take one of these, drag it over, and I'm going to show you just a quick little tip that I learned. Except I have to go back to the presentation. Oh, for crying out loud. Go back to the presentation, open up my... so I also had a lot of text documents, and this was invaluable to me. So I have some text documents, and I want to edit them. And I can make a multiple choice, or as we call it, multiple guess. I can copy, click onto my board, right click, paste, and then I don't have to type it in. I can just drag it. So that was something I learned kind of the hard way after I had typed in tons of information. Say OK, and then the students can get feedback right away. I do this a lot for review, and as Deb Farrar does, is the students can then do some review, and some of them can actually create some of the content themselves. My middle schoolers just absolutely love doing that. Okay. The next thing is then also I can insert files, hyperlinks, shortcuts to files. So if I have a unit and I want to go out on the internet and I want to show them some internet stuff, but I also want to teach them some content, and I'd like to make an interactive game, I can store all of those things right here. Didn't get to read that one quick enough, but so you can store everything right here. And I'm going to just go real quick to my creation notebook. I just want to show you a lesson that I did just using, because I think those flash games are just the coolest thing. So I have a creation story. I just used, well, I should probably show you that. I just put a black box on top of a white box and animated it. That's, you know, pretty simple. But I'm speeding through here. I'm sure you know the story. Okay, so here's one flash game. This is called an image arrange, and what the students have to do is they have to drag the images by the sequence of events. Okay, then they can check it. Oh, I better go back and review that story. Don't let my boss know. Okay, same thing here. Students then can choose. They can check again. Oh, okay. There again, you can do some review. They are now making multi-touch boards for SMART. They're just coming out now. Right now we just have the single touch, and that means only one student can interact at a time. But apparently they've figured that out. So here's a sentence arrange. So you would drag, and then you would again check and see if you were correct. And tiles for the little guys. They would love to do number match, that sort of thing. Here's some lesson plan sites. This is by no means a complete list. There are tons. This one has a lot of templates if you like to do Jeopardy. She's got some Jeopardy games on there. Another one I downloaded from, oh, I didn't finish the activity toolkit and I really need to do that. She has a lot of templates for games, Sorry, Jeopardy, that kind of a thing. But what I want to show you is, and I'm really running low on time, so what I really want you to see is the online resources. If you go to Smart Exchange, it's something that's new that they have. And let's just go to this site. And this is just awesome. You can search by resources, and what you can do is see what content teachers have already done, and you can download it. It's like, say, for example, I'm going to teach, and I'm just picking one, urban and rural. So I can scroll through this person's notebook software through their lesson and see, oh, will that work for me? I can download it, and even if you only use part of it and then restructure it as your own, there are thousands and thousands of lessons that teachers have already done. There's a Jeopardy game. Yeah, these make the software just really cool to use. As a matter of fact, I should probably not maybe admit this, but I have downloaded the Promethean, and you can also use it on a smartboard, and I do that too. I kind of mix and match from the two of them. You can go by just different things. Like I said, they have a Jeopardy game. They have a Sorry game. Yes, you can. You can use the notebook software on a Wiimote. We did try that out. Okay. So I'm going to just wrap up for a second. I will show that video. It will take about 10 minutes on the Wiimote, but I'm going to close out this screen. It may not be Oh, okay, gotcha. Hold on. Didn't think about that. So I'd like to thank you, and God's blessings on your ministry. I'm going to come back and answer any questions that you may have and show you, just answer some questions that you have. Let me see if I can get back.
Okay. Just before you do that, I want to real quickly here just make another little bit of information available here. We're offering, we'd like to get some feedback, so there's a link there to some feedback. There's also the schedule events. As a matter of fact, the next event
Well, thank you very, very much for attending. I hope you got something out of my presentation, and wish you luck. If you'd like to email me, my email is at the very beginning of, yes, actually, you have to go back to, I think if you click this right here, if you click this link right here, then you can go on to the next presentation. So hopefully you can still do that. Oh, very cool. Very cool, Janet. That's awesome. And you put it in the chat box. Yeah, sure. I think I can figure that out. Oh, yeah. Good. Okay. Well, thank you very much. God's blessings on your day.